let's look at the next one, which is really relationships that provide us things, relationships that provide us wealth, and we'll call this red because it's kind of fiery.
Yes.
And if you think about people that are really good at going out there and bringing home the bacon, to use a phrase, they believe their values are very competitive by nature. They believe that there is a zero-sum universe in their world. Either I win or the other guy wins. So I got to win. Whether you're looking up, in its pure form, whether I'm looking at another company,
Absolutely.
whether I'm looking at nature, whether I'm looking at an animal, either that animal dies and I live, or or even if I respect the animal and all those components within it, I have to win. I have to beat another company. The universe is not expanding.
Yeah, lions are like that. Lionesses aren't, but lions are all about it's my genes or the other guys.
Yeah, and there's an element in there of value that says, if I'm going to be good at that, and this is not judgmental because we need these.
You need
we
it.
Need this
because the lion defends the pack from, or the whatever they're called, pride, from hyenas and stuff. His job is he doesn't bring home the bacon, actually, in a way. They do, but I mean, he defends the pack.
Well, organizations that are in this mode, and this is basically our free market system. Any organization that is for profit needs to bring home the bacon or it will die.
Yes.
So it can have all the other altruistic tendencies it wants, but if it doesn't have profit, it will die. So it comes down to a transaction.
Yes.
And that means my relationship expectation when I'm in that world is transactional.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
What do transactions do? They actually create more. What you're looking for over time is there needs to be productivity, utility around that. But I'm looking at getting that at the lowest cost possible.
Yes.
So I have to give up as little as possible to get more.
Right.
It's all a deal, right?
Yes.
And where does that drive? When I'm in a deal, I don't actually ask any big picture questions.
No.
I'm just asking, can I get something cheaper?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Does that something matter? It's more or less, do I like it or not? And that's where things can get. That drives to efficiency. Now, efficiency is an important thing, but unfortunately, it's not the same as effectiveness.
Yeah. So if you take efficiency too far, it's not. Then you get cancer again, don't you?
Oh, you cannot. It cannot balance. Efficiency on its own loses sight of all of the natural components of what could work or not. And it's usually short-term in nature.
Yes.
Efficiency, you would say, is not asking long-term if this is effective. It's saying, what can I get next year? So to use your agriculture thing, I can be extremely efficient in getting a certain crop out of an acre of land.
But if I'm depleting the quality of the soil and the soil itself in the end,
it's not effective.
Right.
So
over time
it will not be effective. Therefore, it will. So the financial systems that the meltdown that we just had, very efficient in terms of generating wealth in the short term. People were never more wealthy than they were 2 years ago, but not very effective because it didn't have a bigger understanding of how that wealth was being generated
and who got it
exactly. Yes. And so then it's predictable if whether this wealth is being generated the right way or not. But what do you need to be good at this? You have to have this sense of focus. People that are really good at providing. Again, there's a vast array of these. Are by nature competitive.
Yes.
They don't like doing things unless there is a winner and a loser.
Right.
Because that gives them energy.
Yes.
And by nature they really focus on the task at hand.
Yes.
Because that's what makes them good at it.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to go to the extreme of providers, you're looking at the Wall Street trader, or you're looking at the professional athlete, because they are so focused in terms of their ability to be good at one thing.
Right.
So what happens, and Tiger Woods gets up to the tee and has to hit it 500 yards. He is able to focus all of his energy in believing that matters. That matters. If one iota of my attention goes off of that, I will not be at that elite level.
That's what makes a champion athlete, in a way, is their ability to screen out everything other than the task, and they put everything into it.
And if they are a champion, that's actually what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
They will not. It's not hard for them to do that.
And a great businesswoman or a great businessman is the same thing.
Very much. And now there's still visionaries within business, but they're already working off of some other idea to change things. But when you're talking about the majority of managerial business,
yes,
which is really the underpinning of what makes it successful. Ideas are great, but this has to happen. You have all the operations.
You have to get the idea. You have to take the ideas into the. I mean, so I think about Google, and I think of the founding boys. They're always going to be boys for me. Are the ideas people but it's really the CEO that has been able to translate these ideas into a practical.
It's a transactional nature.
Transactional.
Right? You got to get it to a point where if it's going to be transactional, I've got to focus on the value of that transaction, and I got to get right into that moment of that. And I don't think as much conceptually. All I care about is if I'm building cars, I care about building the best car. Now, I'm not asking if cars are the right answer or not. I'm just focusing on cars. And if I do ask if cars matter, then I'm probably in my day-to-day work, I wouldn't be as good at what I do. If you take this to the extreme, and you've got this is going to sound like a judgment, but it isn't. It just shows you the very successful people, the mindset they have to have within this. Katrina hits New Orleans, and disaster hits, and what is the Wall Street trader? What's the first thing that comes into their minds if they're honest with themselves?
What am I going to sell and what am I going to buy?
Yeah, I think oil's going up.
Yeah.
It doesn't even, they don't for a second go to the potential nurturing capacity and challenges that would happen as a result of that.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with any of that. These are the values that actually force us to get stuff done.
So this raises an issue for me. What we're seeing at the moment is a huge polarized no-win debate between natural nurturers saying you have to see the bigger picture, you have to start, agriculture as it is unsustainable, and therefore the people who are doing it are bad, and the people who are doing it looking at their critics and going, you're a bunch of unrealistic idiots.
Right. And they'll never get along.
And so, and nothing can get solved if merely morals are on the table here.
This is not a moral discussion; it's a natural discussion. And where things, all I want to talk about is what grows and what doesn't in a sustainable, true way. And what we know is that if any one of these sets of values we're talking about in relationships gets overdeveloped, it's going to collapse. And there's nothing wrong with the provider values. As a matter of fact, there's nothing wrong with being competitive. What gets wrong is when those sets of values become normalized to all of society, and it becomes moral in terms of that's better than other values, and they're underappreciated. That will create a unsustainable